My good friends, after a great deal of thought and deliberation, I have decided next year I will not seek a 5th congressional term to represent the wonderful people of the 6th District of Minnesota. After serious consideration, I am confident that this is the right decision. For some, a single 2-year House term is enough service. For others, 10 terms or 2 decades in the House is still not enough service. Our Constitution allows for the decision of length of service in Congress to be determined by the Congress people themselves or by the voters in the district. However, the law limits anyone from serving as President of the United States for more than 8 years. And in my opinion, 8 years is also long enough for an individual to serve as a representative for a specific congressional district. Be assured, my decision was not in any way influenced by any concerns about my being reelected to Congress. I've always in the past defeated candidates who are capable, qualified, and well-funded. And I have every confidence that if I ran, I would again defeat the individual who I defeated last year, who recently announced that he is once again running. And rest assured, this decision was not impacted in any way by the recent inquiries into the activities of my former presidential campaign or my former presidential staff. It was clearly understood that compliance with all rules and regulations was an absolute necessity for my presidential campaign, and I have no reason to believe that that was not the case. Last year, after I ran for president, I gave consideration to not running again for the House seat that I hold. However, given that we were only 9 months away from the election, I felt it might be difficult for another Republican candidate to get organized for what might have been a very challenging campaign. And I refused to allow this decision to put this Republican seat in jeopardy. And so I ran, and I won. And I felt last year the Republicans had a significant opportunity to win both the Senate and the White House, and finally put our country back on the track of greatness and American exceptionalism. That said, different from some, I've never considered holding public office to be an occupation. I've considered it to be both an honor and a privilege, but most importantly, a significant responsibility. And even when it means resisting the policy positions of many in my own political party, I've always strived to be first and foremost a public servant and do what is best for the people, and never acquiesce to being a political servant. There's a difference. Feel confident. Over the next 18 months, I will continue to work 100-hour weeks, and I will continue to do everything that I can to advance our conservative constitutional principles that have served as the bedrock for who we are as a nation. And I will continue to work vehemently and robustly to fight back against what most in the other party want to do to transform our country into becoming, which would be a nation that our founders would hardly even recognize today. I proudly have, and I promise you I will continue to fight to protect innocent human life, traditional marriage, family values, religious liberty, and academic excellence. Whether working in a bipartisan way to gain federal approval to finally build an immensely significant and long overdue bridge in our district, working to reopen a much-needed regional airport in the district, being the primary sponsor of the bill that recently passed in the House to repeal Obamacare, to recently flying to London to be one of 3 people to represent the United States of America at the funeral of Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher, who, among her other accomplishments, together with Ronald Reagan, was responsible for bringing down the Soviet Union, to working to alleviate all the stifling economic restrictions that banks and businesses must now endure since the enactment of Dodd-Frank legislation. I've called out the Muslim jihad terrorists for who they are and for the evil that they perpetrate upon our people. And I've demanded that this administration never, under any circumstances, subordinates our national security for the administration's weak version of political correctness. I've identified at the outset of the so-called Arab Spring this administration's foreign policy blunders and how those blunders have contributed into turning the Middle East into a devastating, evil jihadist earthquake. I pointed out this administration's despicable treatment toward our great friend and ally Israel, and at the same time giving little more than lip service to the ever-increasing and dangerous nuclear threat of Iran, making publicly clear this administration's outrageous lack of action in Benghazi, Libya, and the subsequent political cover-up, which resulted in the deaths of 4 honorable, dedicated public servants. I've also called out this administration and the Treasury Department for allowing, and perhaps even for encouraging, partisan, selective enforcement against American citizens based upon their political beliefs that aren't in line with those of the administration. I've also demanded consistently a balanced budget and fiscal responsibility, that this be a preeminent government requirement so as to avoid the dangers of a future of financial calamity for our children and the ultimate risk of the destruction of our entire economic system. May it never be. My core of conviction on these principal issues and more will continue in a steadfast manner during the remainder of my term and beyond. Because you see, my decision to seek federal office, both in my initial running for the House and my decision to run for the presidency of the United States, was based solely on my heartfelt concern for our country's future. Unfortunately, today I'm even more concerned about our country's future than I have ever been in the past. On so many issues, we're clearly on the wrong track. But looking forward, after the completion of my term, my future is full, it is limitless, and my passions for America will remain. And I want you to be assured that there is no future option or opportunity, be it directly in the political arena or otherwise, that I won't be giving serious consideration if it can help save and protect our great nation for future generations. I fully anticipate the mainstream liberal media to put a detrimental spin on my decision not to seek a 5th term. Since I was first elected to Congress many years ago, they always seem to attempt to find a dishonest way to disparage me. But I take being the focus of their attention and disparagement as a true compliment of my public service effectiveness. To my many good friends and supporters, I will continue to fight for public policy that is first and foremost in the best interests of the citizens of the United States at large. To my detractors, my work continues for your best interests as well. I especially want to thank my wonderful husband, Marcus, for 35 terrific years. Our 5 children, our 23 foster children, my family, you, my loyal supporters, and all the people in the 6th Congressional District for this unbelievable opportunity to serve all of you for these years. And I want to thank God for His blessings upon the United States of America. You see, it is God who has given me the strength, the conviction, and the personal fortitude to fight to enhance the safety, security, longevity, and well-being of our blessed nation, the United States of America. I say to each one of you, God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.